Hi, I'm Rachel Sorala. I'm the Area Wildlife Manager for Colorado Parks and Wildlife Area 18, based in Montrose. This is Alyssa Kircher. She's the terrestrial biologist for this area. Today we will discuss the Herd Management Plan for Data Analysis Unit, or DAU, D-19.
Data Analysis Unit DAU D-19 encompasses 2,300 square miles of the Uncompahgre Plateau in southwestern Colorado, including parts of Delta, Mesa, Montrose, Ouray, and San Miguel counties. DAU D-19 consists of Game Management Units, or GMUs, 61 and 62. The Uncompahgre Plateau consists of a relatively flat summit that runs northwest from Ridgeway to the Unaweep Canyon. The Uncompahgre Plateau has been part of a long-term deer study since 1997, monitoring 6-month-old fawns and doe survival. This study occurs in 4 other units throughout the state, as well as providing CPW with valuable survival information used for making management decisions.
D-19 has been on a largely declining trend since the early 1980s. Populations have started stabilizing over the last few years, but current population estimates are far below the historic high of 60,000 deer in 1983. The previous population objective from the 2006 HMP in D19 was 36,000 to 36,000 to 38,000 deer. The 2022 population estimate is 10,300 deer. CPW is proposing to increase the population from current levels to meet desires of stakeholders and CPW staff, but overall lowering the objective range to 12,000 to 15,000 to better fit the current trend of the population size, since it is unlikely and most likely above carrying capacity to work towards the previous objective range.
The 5-year average observed post-hunt buck ratio of 32 bucks to 100 does. The 5-year average modeled post-hunt buck ratio is 30 bucks to 100 does. The 2006 DAU plan buck to doe ratio objective is currently 34 to 36 bucks per 100 does. The buck ratio objective CPW prefers for this updated 2023 plan is a decreased objective ratio of 30 to 35 bucks per 100 does. CPW stakeholders have stated a desire for a higher buck ratio. However, this desire must be considered against the threat of chronic wasting disease, which is present in this DAU. The highest CWD prevalence is in the Uncompahgre Valley, which deer concentrate year-round in the agricultural lands and residential areas. The proposed buck to doe ratio of 30 to 35 bucks would balance the public's desire for a higher buck ratio, but also allow for management flexibility. The 5-year average observed post-hunt fawn ratio is 54 fawns to 100 does. Fawn to doe ratios have been increasing slightly since 2016. There was a slight drop from 60 fawns to 100 does in 2021 to 57 fawns to 100 does in 2022. The long-term population decline of this herd and low fawn recruitment, survival of fawns from birth to 1 year of age over the previous 30 to 40 years is likely attributed to an overall decrease in carrying capacity across the landscape for a variety of reasons. Suitable winter range habitat has diminished due to land conversions and human development. Additionally, outdoor recreation has increased dramatically over the last decade. Recreation can have many impacts, including loss of effective habitat, including changes in land use and decline in agricultural lands, changes in seasonal migration patterns, and potentially lower survival rates. Historic and current overgrazing by domestic livestock, persistent drought, and competition with elk have also all contributed to the decreased quality of habitat across the landscape. Crop damage by deer is also a major concern in the Uncompahgre Valley due to an increase in non-migratory deer herds residing year-round on agricultural land. Oftentimes, prevention materials and game damage distribution management hunts are requested and given to landowners to proactively deal with damage before claims need to be made. These methods also increase landowner tolerance for wildlife on private properties. Additionally, a recent influx in new home ownership in the Log Hill Village subdivision has decreased social tolerance for the high concentration of deer in the southern portion of this DAU. Additionally, chronic wasting disease, CWD, is present in D-19 and has been increasing in recent years. Prevalence is 13.8%, but most of the CWD positive harvests have come from the Uncompahgre Valley near agricultural and developed residential areas where there's higher deer concentrations. CPW plans to increase deer populations to meet stakeholder and CPW staff desires. Overall, the DAU's carrying capacity likely is decreased compared to historic plans, and it is likely that the current habitat could not hold historic deer numbers. Increasing this herd slightly would be beneficial to the habitat and to stakeholders. Because CWD is concentrated in lower elevations and exists in mostly residential herds, increasing the overall herd population slightly should not change CWD prevalence dramatically. CPW would also like to decrease the buck ratio slightly to better reflect how current buck ratios are trending. Despite stakeholders' desire for more mature bucks on the landscape, the current buck ratio has not been achieved since 2020, which was 41 to 100. And the 10-year average has hovered around 31 bucks per 100 does. The preferred objective overlaps the current objective range and would allow for a slight increase in the number of bucks to 100 does from the current observed and modeled ratios. This objective still allows for a balance of opportunity for hunters while simultaneously allowing CPW to keep CWD prevalence in check. CPW plans to increase this herd to meet staff and stakeholders' desires. To address management concerns, CPW will work with federal partners, landowners, and NGOs to help improve land management. These groups can help with large-scale habitat management projects and regulate recreation on public lands, which could improve range conditions for deer. The last several years have been managed proactively to limit CWD spread, and staff sees this as an important strategy to continue into the future. This will be achieved by offering buck licenses and continuing the Uncompahgre Valley hunt, which focuses harvest in CWD hotspots in mid-August before migratory deer move into the lower elevations for the winter months. CPW will also adjust limited licenses as necessary to keep within the proposed objective range and limit game damage. This is a summary of the public outreach that has occurred thus far. Hunters were randomly selected to complete the 2022 Deer Hunter Attitude Survey after the completion of their hunting seasons. There were 373 to 439 respondents, depending on the question, that answered the opt-in questions for D-19. Overall, hunters wanted to see a slight to moderate increase in the deer population and were satisfied with their overall hunting experience. Hunters also preferred hunting bigger bucks, aka a higher buck ratio, than hunting more often, which would be a lower buck ratio. The majority of respondents also did not feel crowded while deer hunting. The draft HMP for D-19 will be sent to local county commissions in Delta, Gunnison, Montrose, Hindale, and Uray counties. Draft plans will also be sent to HPP, the U.S. Forest Service, VLM, and backcountry hunters and anglers. The HMP will be posted on the CPW website for 30 days, allowing stakeholders like you to comment on alternatives of this plan.
Thank you so much for your time and for watching our presentation today. If you have comments or feedback, please follow the link on our website to comment on this plan.